He ended the engagement by text, 7 words, sent a week before the wedding, and left her with every bill. Emily stared at the message while the invoices sat on the counter. All paid, all in her name, totaling $28,000. Before she even tried calling him, the reality was locked in. He was gone, and the debt was hers. The phone stayed in her hand until the screen dimmed. Half-folded invitations on the table, the dress bag on the door, the playlist open on her laptop. The air conditioner hummed. Nothing else moved. She tried him once. Straight to voicemail. She didn't try again. On the counter, the bills were lined up. Venue, photographer, catering, all with her name. $28,000. Paid. She said it once out loud, just to hear how wrong it sounded. Her mother's photo was on the fridge. Emily turned it face down, sat on the floor, the dress bag brushing her arm, and read the message again. I can't do this. It's not you, it's me. It almost sounded polite. She didn't cry right away. She just felt the pressure behind her eyes and the dryness in her mouth. Somewhere outside, a lawnmower started, that ordinary sound of other people's lives continuing. By evening, the apartment looked staged, like a showroom for someone else's happiness. She opened her planner, crossed out the line that said August 17th, wedding, and closed it again. Then she poured a glass of cheap wine and opened her laptop. Not to scroll his socials. They were already wiped clean, but to check her email. Refund policies, venue contracts, terms and conditions. Her hand stopped shaking after the first 10 minutes. She didn't know what she was looking for yet, only that sitting still felt like drowning. When the wine was gone, she left the glass on top of the invitations and said quietly, almost like testing her voice, I'll figure it out. And for the first time that day, the words didn't break her. The bank kept her on hold for 23 minutes. She counted each beep like it owed her an apology. The agent finally came on, cheerful, trained, turning bad news into neat sentences. Yes, Miss Sanders, I see the balance. Yes, the venue deposit is non-refundable. He said, non-refundable, like a weather report. She thanked him anyway. Habit. Back home, the dining table looked like a crime scene made of paper, invoices, floral mock-ups, timelines. The wedding planner had stopped replying after the text, probably too awkward now. Emily folded each paper into a neat pile, as if control could be rebuilt by symmetry. Her phone buzzed. Her best friend, Megan. You need to eat, Megan said. I'm eating. Toast, Emily lied. What about the money? I'll handle it. She hung up before the voice cracked on either end. At night, she sat on the floor again, this time with a calculator instead of wine. The numbers didn't cry. They just waited. Catering, 9,000. Decor, 5. Venue, 12. Dress, 2. Total, a future that didn't exist anymore. Her laptop screen glowed. The cursor blinked in the empty search bar. She typed, how to sell a wedding. The results poured in, forums, marketplaces, a thread joking about wedding liquidation sales. She read everything. Bitter, funny, all strangers. For the first time in a week, it felt like direction. By 2 a.m., she opened a blank post. Title, selling a full wedding package. All paid, already. Just change the names. Her fingers hovered over send. Outside, a car alarm chirped once, like a question. She pressed send. Movement, small, deliberate, almost electric. 10 minutes later, the inbox pinged. Someone had replied. She watched the preview appear. We might be interested. Our wedding just got canceled. Her heartbeat finally sounded like a plan. They met at the venue on a Tuesday morning. The air still smelled like new paint and champagne that never got opened. The couple looked barely old enough to rent a car. Nervous, grateful, holding hands like the world had almost slipped away and then came back on sale. Emily walked them through everything. The layout, the schedule, the floral choices she'd once picked for herself. Her voice sounded calm, even friendly. When the bride asked about the color scheme, Emily said, it's neutral, easy to make your own. She didn't mention how long it had taken her to choose it. The groom kept apologizing. I feel weird, taking over someone else's day. She smiled. Trust me, you're saving mine. They laughed, but she meant it. After signing the contract, they thanked her at least 5 times. When the payment notification hit her phone, she almost didn't believe it. The number looked too clean, too final. She walked to her car, sat behind the wheel, and let the silence stretch. Her hands were still trembling, But this time it wasn't fear. Inside the hall, she heard the sound of chairs scraping, people setting up, voices echoing under the high ceiling. The noise didn't hurt anymore. It sounded alive. She rolled down the window. Warm air rushed in, carrying the smell of cut flowers and coffee from the caterer's truck. On impulse, she texted Megan. Sold it. Megan wrote back a line of question marks. Then, you serious? Very. Emily leaned her head back against the seat and laughed once. Quick, small, like testing whether laughter still worked. It did. The next day, she transferred the last payment to the bank. Loan cleared. Balance 0. A week ago, that line meant disaster. Now it meant freedom. As she closed the laptop, applause came from inside the hall. Rehearsal, probably. She listened for a second, then started her car. Everything she'd lost was happening right there. Without her, and it was perfect. She filmed the video 2 days later. No script, no makeup, the same white wall behind her couch. Hi, I'm Emily, she said, and I just sold my wedding. She wasn't trying to be brave, just to explain. She paid for everything. He left. She turned the mess into a deal. It sounded like she was talking to one friend who wouldn't interrupt. She almost deleted it. Then she remembered the text, the tone, the exit. She hit upload. By morning, the views were past 100,000. By evening, it was everywhere. Clips, screenshots, tags. Someone wrote, Queen of Refunds. Another, she turned heartbreak into income. Emily scrolled until her hands went numb. Megan called. Girl, you're viral. I noticed. You okay with that? I think so. She wasn't sure. Fame felt strange, like people clapping for your fire while you're still watching the smoke. Then the message came in. A new account. No picture. You made me look like a monster. It was him. Emily stared at the words. Thumb over reply. She typed. You disappeared. Deleted. You left a debt, not a memory. Deleted. You did that yourself. Send. 10 minutes later, the account was gone. She laughed. Not loud, not cruel, just tired. Outside, rain started, soft against the window. In the reflection, she saw the wedding dress bag still hanging on the door. She walked over, unzipped it halfway, and touched the fabric. Cold, smooth, expensive. For a second, she thought about selling that too. Then she zipped it back up. Some things weren't worth the refund. And just like that, the silence in the room stopped sounding empty. It sounded earned. 3 weeks later, she was back at work. Different event, different couple, same hall. She adjusted table numbers while the DJ tested sound. The speakers hissed, then thumped. The same song she'd once picked for her first dance filled the empty space. She didn't flinch. One of the caterers recognized her from the video. You're the wedding girl, right? Emily smiled. I guess I am. He laughed. Never seen someone win that hard by losing. She didn't answer, just straightened a napkin and checked the clock. Her phone buzzed, new email, sponsorship offers, interviews, podcasts. She ignored them all. The comments under her video had turned into small wars, people arguing about love, money, pride. She hadn't read them in days. The story didn't belong to her anymore. That was fine. When the guests started arriving, she slipped to the back, making sure everything ran smooth. The bride's mother whispered something that made everyone laugh. The groom looked terrified in the best way. It was chaos. It was perfect. It was life. At the bar, she asked for a glass of champagne. The bartender poured one without question. She raised it slightly, not like a toast, more like acknowledgement. A year of saving, a week of breaking, a month of rebuilding. All in one sip. Through the glass doors, she saw the dance floor glowing gold, people turning under light. The sound was muffled, distant, but not painful. For a moment, she just watched. Her phone buzzed again, another unknown number. She turned it face down. Someone behind her said, "That woman knows how to make anything work." Emily smiled at the reflection in the bar mirror. "Yeah," she said softly. "Even this." She finished the champagne, set the empty glass on the counter. This time, after a full pour, and walked toward the music. The door swung open, the lights caught in her hair, and for the first time, it sounded like celebration again.